And Matt, for you, you're no stranger to reinventing yourself either in TNA. The broken gimmick took over the world, I feel at the time, the wrestling world. Also, what you were doing, it was so cool. Can you tell us about the invention of that character? And then also, did you think it was going to take off the way that it did?
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you this. The year that I did Broken Matt Hardy, that was the funnest year of my career, without a doubt. And it was also very cool because a lot of times when I went to work, it was at home. So that was nice, both Jeff and I. The character originally started, I was wrestling and wrestlers had gotten smaller, they'd gotten more athletic, they'd gotten more acrobatic, and I was just thinking, well, we're not as young as we used to be. I've learned to change my style. Whenever I went through my phase of like trying to recreate how I'm going to wrestle, how I'm going to do things, how I'm going to take care of my body, 2011, 2012-ish, I realized that I just have to change the way I wrestle. So I said, what if we actually go back many years and I try and do a character that is like supernatural or over the top, almost a throwback to Papa Shango or the early Undertaker, and that's kind of what I was shooting for with Broken Matt Hardy. And I was very inspired by True Blood, first and foremost. I thought it was so cool how vampires, when a vampire is immortal and they live through different time periods, you see they live through different periods of fashion. They have different haircuts. They just look very different throughout their career. There's so many different recreations of these characters as vampires who are immortal beings. I said, is there any way I could kind of do that as a character, as a persona? And then I realized, obviously, you can't be immortal. I said, but what if you could be aware of your soul? If you could be cognizant of where your soul has been, and you could say, this soul has been tracking through all these different vessels, all these different bodies, and like you're aware of where your soul has been. And that was the main motivation behind starting the whole Broken Matt Hardy character.
That's so cool. And we were just getting like a glimpse of where it was, that vessel at that time. That's so
Yeah,
cool.
right.
Wow. Jeff, it looked so much fun from a fan's point of view, what you guys are doing. Do you have any thoughts on the whole broken universe?
Oh yeah, I loved every minute of it. And I'll never forget, like I didn't know what Matt was gonna do. It reminds me like a very like a method actor type of deal. Like he just said, I don't know, you can give me this big move, man, and then I'm just gonna dye a blonde streak in my hair and be different. And I didn't know what in the world, it would become what it was, what it is and what it can be again. So yeah, definitely. That's always going to be near and dear to my heart, man. The broken universe is there's always a portal to get back there.
I love that. Well, Jeff, can you take us back to the final deletion compound match that you guys had? I'd love to hear from you, Matt, afterwards as well. But I feel like it really inspired what we saw going forward in wrestling. There were so many cinematic matches that happened after that, but the Broken Universe really started it off. Can you tell us about that, Jeff?
Yeah, for sure, man. As kids, we used to rent a big VHS camcorder, and make our own movies at home and did some funny stuff, man. And it kind of reminded me of that, except we were doing this on a professional pro wrestling level, and a lot of people were going to see this, and it reminded me of that. But then working our butts off throughout the night, like just six people, I think, and I running 300, 400 foot of drop cord to light up a spot. And we finished right as the sun was about to come up. So it couldn't have been any, it was pretty much flawless in that aspect of it. We just worked our asses off and finished right there before sunrise. And yeah, and I'll never grow tired of that. I can watch that back every day and it's like, man, and still be so proud of it.
Yeah.
The mindset we went into the final deletion and also the contract signing before that. It's just that we were trying to tell stories in a different way, trying to expand what pro wrestling is, because that's what pro wrestling ultimately ends up being. We're storytellers, we're entertainment, and you find different ways to tell stories. And like most everything in pro wrestling, move wise, in the arena wise, has been done, but you always got to find ways to put different spins on it. So we said, what if we fought on our property, and it ended up being for the property and for the Hardy brand and the Hardy name, so we had different ideas. And I, even when we got Jeff to become Brother Nero, we figured either we would become baby faces, which we did, or Jeff could kind of turn heel again, much like he did with the Antichrist back in the day. And lo and behold, we ended up being huge baby faces. And so much about the whole Broken Matt Brother Nero movement reminds me of Joe Henry now because it was so organic, it was so genuine, it was so authentic the way it got over, and people really generally just started sending memes to each other, and it became very gifable. It was, very memeable, and that's what got it over so much because it went viral.
Rewind, recap, relive. For over 50 episodes, the revolutionary force in wrestling interview.